If this works, it should completely and fundamentally change the way that you go about everything that you do in your daily life. 100%. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. If this video and these series of videos, if they work and you watch and you pay attention, it should change the way that you look at the entire world. Because here's the thing. Right now, we, as normal citizens of the world, we are going through life thinking and acting as only consumers for the most part. And until you decide to become a producer, you have no control. Now, look, I've been on the internet bandwagon here for 14 years. I've been running different businesses pretty successfully for 14 years. Recently built up a company and sold it. And in doing so, I started thinking about, what do I want to do next? What's my legacy? I guess what's that going to be? And I decided that what I wanted to do was kind of buck a little bit of the trend that's going out there right now, which is, I grew up in it. I grew up in this trend of you've got to go to college. You've got to go to college to get a good job. Here's what's crazy about that. Never once was I asked, what is a good job to you? And to be honest with you, when I was 18 years old, I wouldn't have known the answer anyways. But think about it. What is a good job? What's a good job? Is a good job just one that pays you well? Is a good job one that you can have for 10 years and then get fired? I really don't understand how we are taught in school to be consumers. I didn't know this until I started thinking about it after I sold my recent company. I had time to do a little bit of research and to think, to stop the sprint that we're all on all the time. I was able to stop and think to myself, like, wait a second. Why is it so hard for other people to have successful businesses? Why is it so hard for people to break free from the 9-to-5 grind? Why is it so hard for people to understand that you don't have to exchange your time for money? Why is it so hard to think that you might actually be able to do something that makes you happy every single day, that you're passionate about every single day? Why is that so hard for most people to get under their brain? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I did not grow up an entrepreneur. I didn't grow up selling baseball cards. I'm not the Gary Vaynerchuk type of business person where I grew up. Hustle was in my veins. I was raised by safe decision makers, which means every decision that I got promoted my way was a safe decision. Travis, go to college, because if you go to college, you can get a good job. I went to college. I took on $140,000 in student debt. When I graduated, nobody wanted to hire me. Why? Multiple reasons. Number one, the economy. I graduated in 2008. The economy was crashed. Nobody was hiring at that time. So here's the crazy thing. I did everything that everybody wanted me to do. For 18 years of my life, I did what I was told to do, got good grades in high school. Then I did what everybody wanted me to do. I went to college. It guaranteed me nothing. It guaranteed me nothing, and it gave me control over zero. I got lucky. 3 years after graduating, I ended up taking a job with a company that they were doing digital marketing, and I kind of learned the circle. And I wanted to take the chance in this video to reframe the way that everybody thinks who's watching this. I want this to be information that changes everybody's life dynamically by just listening and just understanding and looking at the world differently, because it taught me to look at the world differently, right? Everything that we buy, for the most part, we're buying online, right? At the time that I started working with this internet company, I had no idea what internet marketing was, no idea what digital marketing was, no idea how to pull it off, right? In 2 years, I learned the real nuance of all of it. Now, what I was able to do from that was leverage it myself. I stopped thinking as a consumer and started thinking as a producer. And this is one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself in your life ever. Start thinking like a producer. See, in school, we are taught to consume information just well enough that we can replicate it on a test so that somebody else can say, hey, they understand this concept well enough to pass this test. That's all we had to do. Nobody ever looked back at any of my tests and said, hey, you didn't understand this thing. This is going to be bad for you in the rest of your life. Because the truth is, it wouldn't have been. My ability to memorize the state capitals does not in any way vary my success as an adult. And people know that. All they care about is, hey, can we just get them through this curriculum? Nobody teaches you to think like a producer. And here's how you know. They never ask you to do anything with the information that you're learning. Mainstream school, and again, I went to, 16 years of school, right? Went through all grades 1 through 12, and then 4 years of college. Nobody ever taught me something with the goal of using it. Aside from one class, I think in college I took some pre-law classes, and there were some really great classes there because the whole point was eventually you might get into law and you might have to learn how to use this. Other than that, nothing I did was learn this well enough so you can use it in real life. Think about it. What are you using right now that you learned in 11th grade? I get that there's some semblance of making you a good human being, but the actual information that you are stressing out over, that you are note carding over, that you are losing sleep over, arguing with parents over, almost all of it is meaningless at the end of the day because it's just consumerism. It's just teaching us to consume the information, bottle it up long enough so that we can take a test and then make room for more. Nobody's teaching us to learn like a producer. Learn the information well enough to be able to use it, right? Because if you can use it, that means that you're in control of that information. It means that not only do you know it well enough, you know it well enough to then get something out of it. Because if we had to do that, that means that people wouldn't be learning, advanced algebra in 12th grade because you'll never use it unless you go into math. We wouldn't be learning trigonometry and stats unless you were going into that field, right? What if we only looked and learned the information that we're actually going to use to become producers? Because consumers sit back. The world happens to you. 100%. I was that before I started my online business. I was a consumer 100%. Well, I'm just going to apply for jobs. I'm just going to, put myself out there. I'm just going to do what I'm told. I'm just going to go to the 9 to 5. I got fired from my last job. My last 2 jobs, actually, I got fired from. I'm an incredibly good, on it person. 2 jobs I got fired from. The first one that I got fired from, I was fired because I was 8 minutes late. We had to open this facility at 8 o'clock. I was there at 8:08. Why was I late? I was late because I had a killer migraine. Why did I have a migraine? Because I hated what I did. I was a 4-year college graduate, and I was literally working the front desk at a virtual office company, answering phones for people, cleaning whiteboards, and changing out the Keurig. I was miserable. And yet the 4-year degree was supposed to get me that dream job, right? There was management hopes for me in the future. I got fired on the spot that day because I wasn't management material for being 8 minutes late because I hated my job. But that's because that's all I knew. That's all I knew was to do what I was told, was to be there on the clock, was to do this, was to do that. It never felt good to me. It never felt right to me. I was miserable at 24 years old. Miserable. I can't even imagine what everybody else is out there doing. 35 years old and you're working an accounting job that you hate. You're working a custodial job that you hate. You're driving. You're doing all the stuff that you hate, and it's because you only think like a consumer. You're not thinking about learning information that will allow you to produce, because if you produce, you have control. If you produce content, you have control. If you produce products, you have control. If you can learn a skill set that allows you to produce an asset that has value, you have more value. And it is not tied directly to being there at 8 o'clock in the morning or losing your job. It gives you control so that when the day comes that your job fires you for whatever reason. Right now, we are in the middle of one of the greatest layoffs in tech history. Facebook, Amazon, Google, Stripe, every big company in the world worth billions of dollars is firing tens of thousands of people. You think your job is somehow safe from all of that? Not when you're a consumer, because there's a lot of other consumers out there, consumer thinkers. You need to be a producing thinker. And it's honestly just not that hard. It's one of the reasons that I created Wealth3. After I sold my last company, I decided what I wanted to do was create something, create an entity that allowed me to talk about all of this, that allowed me to teach this stuff to other people, and allowed me to talk about the three things that I think are the most important in everything that we do, which is our relationships, both with family and friends, but just relationships in general, our health, and then our income. Because I just don't think that we have to be only one of those silos. There's so many people who are in incredibly good shape, but they make zero money and they have no friends. Why is that? There's a lot of people who make really good money and have no friends and no family. I didn't want that. I didn't want that for me, and I don't want that for other people. But it's commonplace when we think the way that they want us to consume, right? It's easy to push family members away when all you're doing is judging whether they voted blue or voted red. It's easy to bypass your health when McDonald's is easier than making real food. It's easier to let somebody else pay your bills when it is more difficult, but yet infinitely more rewarding to actually think like a producer. And that's what I wanted to make this series. I wanted to make a series of videos that I can post on my YouTube channel here that share a lot of these thoughts and hopefully help you break out and break into the world of thinking like a producer. And one of the things that I did early on in my career, once I understood how internet marketing actually worked, what I don't want to say what allowed me, but what really triggered in my head was everything's for sale. Everything is for sale. If I can work my way into some of those transactions, I can make money. Because there's really multiple different ways that you can make money online. One is by referring people to products that you don't own as an affiliate, right? That's affiliate marketing. Somebody else wants to buy this iPhone case, I can refer them over to Amazon. They buy the iPhone case, I get 4%. If I can do that enough times, I can make a good amount of money. If I can do that with enough products, I can make a good amount of money. So when I first started online, I figured out, okay, if I have an audience of people that will listen to me, I can refer them to multiple products every single month, and I can continuously make money. Now, what set me apart was I started down the path of building my email list, which made it significantly easier for me to be able to do that, right? At the time when I started, there was no social media. There were very few places that you could actually run ads. We had the ability to build an email list. So by building that email list, it allowed me to then take control and refer products that these people wanted. I just said, hey, I'm using this product. If you think you'd like it too, go check it out. That was it. I would get paid. Now, you do that with enough products and you start to learn certain products make you more money. Certain products are better for you over time. You can build a real business by thinking about this. I'm not thinking like a consumer. I'm just the one buying the products. No. I'm thinking somebody's getting paid. How do I be the one who's getting paid? By literally being a professional referrer. I just refer people to stuff that they already want. And then good marketing, good salesmanship, good stuff that goes on behind it and make it a real business where I can do this at scale and help thousands of people get what they want, and I also get what I want. It's that simple. And I started there. Then I realized, hey, some of these products that I'm recommending, they're not that great. I mean, they're not special. They're not anything that I couldn't do. Again, thinking like a producer, not a consumer. A consumer thinks, I could never create a product. Of course not. Because grades 1 through 12 and grades, 12 through 16 in college, they don't teach you to do that. You're not supposed to think that way. You're not supposed to think that you could be the business person. I have a business management degree, not a single entrepreneurship class in 4 years. Not a single one. Nothing taught me about running a business. It taught me how to manage an Applebee's. Literally, you could have thrown me into a Staples, and I'd have been able to make sure that things ran relatively smoothly, right? No concept of creating. No concept of being a producer. So the first thing that you've really got to do is you've got to understand that the system is backwards. The system is made for the 9-to-5ers. I mean, school itself was made to create line people that work on assembly lines. Get you used to working 9 to 5. Give you a bare minimum amount of information to make you a standard human being that could read instructions so that you could do one thing on an assembly line all day, 9 to 5. That's what it made us for. You're going to have to go way against the trend to buck it, right? You're going to have to go way against the trend to get something outside of that. Thinking like a consumer is one of the biggest problems that I see out there, because you're never asking, what if I could make money here? What if I could interject myself into this and actually build an income on my own? You see people doing it, and the biggest change between the people who aren't making money online but trying and the people who are making money is the people who are stopped thinking like a consumer. Yes, you're going to have to buy things along the way. I'm not talking about consumption of goods. I'm talking about we think in a way that only makes us learn to consume the information. We get an endorphin dump. We get an endorphin high by thinking that we accomplished something by learning something. We read a book. Oh, man, look how great I am. I read a book. That book does jack for you if you don't use it. You have to learn as a producer, not as a consumer. And when you understand how the internet works, that you can produce on any level that you want. You can promote other people's products. You can leverage that email list to then build your own products because you're a producing thinker now, which means that you can produce your own course. You can produce your own system, and you can do this in any niche that you want. I know millionaires teaching people how to handstand hold, teaching people how to do chicken wire, teaching people everything you can imagine, how to garden, how to eat right, how to lose weight, how to customize, design their interior. Once you understand the internet and that there are billions of people searching for stuff that you might know a little bit about, it becomes so easy to make money. A big fallacy that most people have on the internet is, I've got to be the best at this in order to make money from it. You don't. On a scale of 1 to 10, if you're a 4, you can help a 1. You don't have to be a 10, right? It's like climbing to Mount Everest. If you had a choice right now and you had never done it, and there was somebody standing next to you who had done it once before, you would take him over nobody. Well, that guy's not a Sherpa. He's not done it hundreds of times. He's done it once. But it's better to have somebody helping you who's a 4 than having nobody, right? Now, that 4 can market himself on the internet as a producing thinker. He can market himself and sell many people to come with him and make money. And that's how the internet works. It gives us scale on things that otherwise can't scale. So I wanted to produce a series here. You'll see more on my channel. Make sure you guys subscribe if you enjoyed any of this. Make sure you please do me a favor, share this video if you enjoyed any of this. I want to be able to help you guys change the way that you think, change the way that you live, change the things that go on in your life to make, literally just to make you better and to open up opportunities in life that maybe you haven't noticed or even eligible to you before. Because I know if it hadn't have been for a lot of luck on my part early on in my career, I'd have never figured this out. I would have never known this. I'd still be 9 to 5. You have an opportunity. You're here right now, which means you can subscribe to the rest of these videos. You can watch them, and you can learn something that might put you on your own path to being a producing thinker and not a consuming thinker. So please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you enjoyed any of this content, and I would really love it if you'd share any moments of this. Feel free to tag me on Instagram. I'm at the Travis Stevenson, with any moments that made you think, any moments that made you, wow, this is a little different. I'm not going to hold anything back. I'm going to teach you how to be a producer in these videos. I'm going to teach you how important it is to have an email marketing list and how possible it is for everybody. I don't care if you're, I look at all of my friends. Every one of my friends, they have diverse backgrounds. They were from very different places. They're different ethnicities. They have different knowledge. Every single one of them could have an email marketing list. And every single one of them could make more money by promoting to that list. It doesn't take a genius. You could be 20 or you could be 70. You've got some value to bring. And I'm going to help you figure out where that is. I'm going to help you make money from it. So I look forward to having you guys along for the journey. Please do me a favor. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments and what you'd like for me to cover. I'm going to cover everything that I can and everything that you want to make sure that you guys have the ability to do this for yourself. I'll see you guys in the next one.